Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll kindly allow me, I'd like to direct your attention to my copy of the Greetings from the Peach District EP from Trains Across the Sea. As some of you have noticed, on the reverse side of the narcissistically large picture of Andy, there are 36 smaller pictures of people who are not Andy. Though there are certainly hundreds of others who have helped me along my way in these strange musical endeavors, I thought I'd give a quick rundown of these 36 who helped in 1,000 ways on this specific project, and without whom we wouldn't have this album. And in case you have one, feel free to dust off your own personal copy of the EP and follow along. Alphabetically, we'll start in the top left corner with Joe Adelman, an active member of the Toronto Intelligentsia who added some fine Boron tracks to the Andy's graduation video. Next we have Tony Alfano, who provided honest feedback all the way back to my early days and also taught me how to play disc golf. Bentley Allen told me to read Lester Bangs and consequently reminded me of what music is supposed to be. Adam Alspaugh was, to the best of my knowledge, our first official fan. Kevin Ashba added that delicious piano at the end of Run Away With Me and showed me chords that I didn't even know existed. Deepak Ball offered up his tuba playing and his bass playing and internet links and, oh shit, I still have your quarter-inch cable. Megan Lee Barnard took this picture, and lots of others, and helped on the stomping tracks of Gods and Rock and Roll. Dave Casto taught me two things. One, how to sing. And two, that karaoke is as valid of a coping mechanism for the modern world as everything else. Next is Joy Kusi, painter, lover, dreamer, mother, dancer, entrepreneur, and karaoke queen. Rob Denby played me his banjo on Gods of Rock and Roll, and shared his whiskey, and took me fly fishing, and consequently reinforced all of the Kentucky stereotypes I was aware of. Carolyn Dever played trumpet on Wheat Bread and added that pickup note right before it starts, which I think was a very good idea. Jason Dutton, great friend, great roommate, whom I apparently can't live without, I've tried to twice, is my personal filter of music and film. Ethan Finley, one of two providers of feedback on the final mix, is where I go whenever I have a question and require more social interaction than just Wikipedia. Bonnie Gallagher is my mother and the beginning of all of these thank yous, a giver of life. Chris Gallagher is my father, a provider of life. John Gallagher, my grandfather, paid for that spectacular house under which I've spent about every Christmas Eve of my life. Megan Gallagher is actually my sister and might be one of the few people on the planet that understands me. Midge Gallagher is my grandmother and she made the pillow that's against my back right now. Michael Glauser is one of the wisest and kindest humans that I've met. He told me to add piano on I Will Meet You There, and I do believe he was right. Andrew Graham told me to shorten Cobbler's Blues and has given me some extremely helpful pointers in this fickle industry. Mary Griffith introduced me to both the band I named this project after and the concept that you can actually do what you want to do before you die. Nina Hernandez helped Megan and I out in that surprisingly exhaustive stomping session on Gods of Rock and Roll, and Michael Heslop built the stage on which we stomped that evening and also provided feedback on the final mix. Leo Maymond, whose idea it was to make this album, continually provides wise guidance in this weird music world. Amy Miller shredded those spoons that you hear on Gods of Rock and Roll, and Cole Miller, no relation, was in charge of the trombone on Wheat Bread. Bob Murniak, my grandfather, did not think that I was a raging lunatic for trying this music thing out. And Shirley Murniak, my grandmother, provided a highly enjoyable, all-expenses-paid trip to Middletown, Pennsylvania. Eric Nassau is here doing his best Gods of Rock and Roll face as he's recording his backup vocals on that track, and Stephen Polisic exercised infinite patience in his counseling of confused engineer Andy. Patrick W. Roach, gentleman rake, illustrator of the CD face, designer of the business card, and not to be trusted. Travis Hunter Matthew Sefcik is a master of small talk. Honestly, just check his business card. Jim Staley provided backup vocals on that last track and was kind enough to learn to play my songs better than I can. Anna Sudak is that angelic sort of golden singing sound in the third and fifth tracks. Kevin Van Scooter taught me or pointed me in the direction of about 80% of what I'd consider my collegiate education. That is true. And finally, last and alphabetically least, Jeremy Voltz, my rock and salvation and backbeat. He plays drums for me on the splendid occasion when we are in the same city. So there you have it, folks, a brief explanation of the classic thank yous on Greetings from the Peach District by Trains Across the Sea. In case you haven't yet given it a spin, feel free to stop on by to trainsacrossthesea.com where you can decide whether or not it's worth your time or money. And in the rare circumstance that you do like the sounds, all that we ask is that you tell somebody. Thank you.